Hello. Welcome,
Hey
welcome,
guys,
welcome.
happy Halloween.
You are here on Relationship Talk with Beth Lee and
Dan IT guy.
yes. So I know we're a day late. I'm sorry. We were planning on our little Halloween party last week and some things came up that we had to deal with. So we weren't able to do our little Halloween soiree. So tonight we're going to do it. So dig into your kids' Halloween candy. They don't need any more. They already had enough from last night. So dig in. We had a blast last night. The benefits and downfalls of living in the country are, I guess the downfall would be we only got one trick-or-treater last night. One.
We basically had to flag them down.
Yeah.
Hey, we're over here.
I was waving to people. It's 32 degrees outside, and I'm standing out in our driveway waving to people and trying to get people to come to our house. And we only got one. So we have a big bucket full of Halloween candy. And it's the good stuff too. So more for us.
Hey,
Downfalls and benefits of living in the country.
Yeah.
We get a lot of candy, but we only get one trick-or-treater, so I guess we get a lot of candy to snack on.
Yep.
So I can't see you through my bangs.
Can't see me through your bangs.
My bangs.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Yeah, it's a little bit wild. Reminds me of the 80s. Not that I'm old enough to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, so we would like to welcome all of you to our show. We're so happy that you're here. Even if you're coming in at a later time and watching us, we appreciate you. We love you. And we're so happy that you come and watch us and take time out of your day to listen to us ramble on. We appreciate that.
Yep.
And
We certainly do.
Our Gmail address is there. So author.bethlee@gmail.com. If you ever want to write to us and ask any questions, we're pretty open people. So some things are within limits though. So, but we will answer pretty much anything. And if you like our channel, if you'd like to subscribe, please do so. Dan will hit the button. Thank you so much, my love.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it. And let's see what else. We're going to put a link to the book in the comments right after the show. So if you haven't gone out and gotten Making Marriage Last, which is by Beth Lee, please do so. It's out on Amazon. It's on, Barnes and Noble. And hopefully soon we'll have.
To be an audiobook.
Hopefully soon we'll have an audiobook. We're
working through it.
We're working on that. So hopefully soon we'll have an audiobook for those of you who don't really like to read things. You want to just listen
to it.
Yeah. So we found it was really interesting to be able to take turns reading it, read a section and hear the other person talking, because when you hear the words instead of just only reading them, it makes more of an impact, I think, hearing it. So we kind of realized that when I was writing and I would have Dan listen to it a little bit and and help me refine it a little bit. Mm-hmm. So hearing the words, I think that helps a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would suggest that if you do get the book, just take different sections and read them to each other. And I would suggest to don't read it all in one setting. You don't want to do that.
It's not really meant for that.
No, it's meant for.
Don't get me wrong. You can read through it the first time, just kind of read through it so you know what you're talking about, and then go back and read through it at a normal pace with your partner.
Yeah.
But
it's really meant as kind of a workbook, and because there's different sections in the book, and then there's questions at the end of each section. So it's really meant to be a workbook for the two of you to do together. So reading a section or even part of a section and then coming back to it later on and working through the questions and they're not hard questions. They're very easy. Basically just to get communication going between the two of you. That's really what it's meant for. So you spraying the dog down with the good spray. We've got stinky dogs, so they need to be sprayed down sometimes. I think we have a comment.
Yes.
Take a look at that. Oh, we've got Turlo's Garage in here. Thank you so much. Yes, Dan should have. I suggested it. I really did. I suggested that he walk down to the end of the driveway, which is what, 130 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 130 feet. It takes 2 strands of lights. That's how I know how long it is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we had to figure it out so we would have enough lights.
yes. So we had to. Plus, we had the fence that we have for the dogs is 115. I think we figured out.
Yeah.
And it's 15 feet past that, so it's about 130 feet. So yeah, I told Dan, I think you should go down there and show some leg, but he didn't want to because it was only 32 degrees out. It snowed yesterday.
It was a little chilly.
It was cold. I would have stopped, maybe not. Hey, we have good candy here. I'm just saying.
It's the good stuff, man.
Just saying. Yes, you can look at the pictures that are in the book. We have some pictures in there, so yeah. And not stick figures. They're actually like pictures.
Yep.
So, yes. So a couple of weeks ago, the last time we had our show, we were talking about patience and kindness. And we talked about how patience has been our song pretty much since we started dating and got married.
Yeah.
And because we only dated for 3 months, but you know, we've known each other. We had known each other for 28 years before that. So,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So we had known each other for quite a while, but to be able to have that as a running theme in your marriage, I think it probably is a running theme for everybody's marriage. Really,
yeah.
You have to really wait for God's timing in your life and wait for signs to come to you, to show you which direction to go to, and to be able to wait, just to have patience, and then also kindness, being able to react to one another with kindness. Later this month, I kind of worked out a schedule for shows, and later this month we're going to be talking about appreciation of your spouse. Again, we're going to be talking about being thankful, and guess when that's going to be? It's going to be the night before Thanksgiving. Yeah, I thought that was fitting. So, oh, hey, Mike. Our boy Michael is here. Hi.
What's up, Mike?
I love you.
Love you, buddy.
I know that's pretty loud.
Like the mullet?
Yeah, I grew my hair out, Mike. You like it? It's a little long. But later this month, we're going to be talking about appreciation. And just as a preview for that, I saw a video that just really made me quite upset about a woman not appreciating her husband. And frankly, just saying that, like bragging about how she wasn't going to appreciate him. And Dan and I were talking about it quite a lot. It was mostly me kind of going off about that because I'm such a stickler with being kind to one another, and showing kindness. And why wouldn't you say thank you? Why wouldn't you?
I don't know.
Unless you're, well, I won't go into that, but entitled little snot, I guess.
Something like
I don't
that,
know.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even just getting a drink from the refrigerator or, just being kind.
Yeah.
It shows a lot, and when we've actually ended arguments just by being kind to one another because it's so important, and it's just very, very important.
Yes.
Having patience, waiting, and being kind to one another. What else did Mr. Michael say? I think
You got that pop on her head.
Hey, are you talking to me or are you talking to Mr. Dan? I'm hoping that you're talking to Mr. Dan, because either that or we're going to have words, Mr. Michael. I think he's talking to you.
Could be. I don't know.
You have a dead possum on your head? We do have possums here.
Pretty much.
we do have possums here. I don't know.
I think I look like Kenny Rogers.
Where's my chicken? I don't know who I look like. An 80s rocker chick, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rock star.
Thank you, honey. Yes. So welcome. This week we're going to be talking about Halloween kind of stuff and a little bit of spooky stuff here. If you're into paranormal stuff or ghost stories, this is the show for you. Because we've had quite a few different experiences, and Mr. Michael can attest to a few of those. Yeah, he was around for a few of them. Do you want to introduce that section? That's your section to talk to. Talking about this week.
Where? Oh.
Yeah, right there.
Welcome to our Halloween party. Talk about Halloween in the country.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, we only had one trick-or-treater.
And it was so dark out here. It snowed yesterday, and it was really cold. And it was funny because the sun was setting, and trick-or-treating was starting. And then all of a sudden, it's like somebody turned the lights out. It was crazy. And it was so dark outside. Jola says, I love paranormal stuff. I thought about doing a paranormal channel instead of an automotive channel. Wow. Yeah, I love doing like ghost hunts and things like that, or ghost tours. Not really ghost hunting, but ghost tours.
Yeah.
I've been to a few of those. Yeah, I was definitely talking about Dan. All right, you're not in trouble anymore, Mike.
Nice.
Yes, that's really cool. Yeah, Mike was talking about you. The next comment down.
Oh, next one down.
Yeah, he was definitely talking about Dan. Good boy. I've never seen or experienced anything paranormal, but I want to believe.
Oh, it's there, dude.
After the show tonight, you might start believing. I don't know. We'll see. We've got a few stories. We've had some experiences, and yeah. But I mean, most of them were pretty good experiences. We've had a couple that were not. Well, I have anyway.
Yeah.
A couple that were not quite so friendly, but other than that, I don't know. Mainly, it's been like friends or family members like visiting, and like showing us that they're still around. But like my first experience was when I was probably about 7 years old, 7 or 8. And my mom's good friend at the time, her name was Sally, and she was my godmother, and she was diagnosed with I don't remember what kind of cancer, but some kind of cancer around the same time my mom was. And so they were going through cancer treatments at the same time. And at some point, my mom started getting better, and Sally started not doing so well. And so we went to bed one night, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was scared of thunderstorms when I was little. I was scared of the lightning. The thunder, not so much, but the lightning really scared me when I was little. And so I woke up, and it's a really bad thunderstorm. And the house that we were living in, my bedroom was on the second floor. And we had a tree that was across from our driveway, but it didn't have branches that were long enough to hit our windows. So I wake up in the middle of the night, and I hear this tapping on my window. And then I start hearing my name being called. And it sounds like my name is being called inside the bedroom. And I sat straight up, and I look outside the window, and I can see Sally sitting on one of the tree branches outside. And she's calling my name. And I know it sounds crazy, but I said, what are you doing out there? It's raining. You're going to get all wet. And she said, oh, don't worry about it, honey. I just wanted to come and talk to you and say that I won't be seeing you anymore, but I'm always going to be watching over you. And I need you to take care of your mommy, because she's going to be very sad tomorrow morning. And I said, okay. And she said, okay, I'm going home now. So she left, and I laid back down, fell right back to sleep. And so I get up the next morning, and I go into the kitchen, and my mom is crying. And I said, what's the matter, Mom? And she said, oh, honey, you wouldn't understand. It's okay. Mommy will be better. Don't worry. And I said, I saw Aunt Sally last night. And she said, what? And I said, yeah, she was sitting outside my window on a tree. And she said that that I should take care of you because you were going to be sad today, and that she would always watch over me. And my mom said, honey, Sally died last night. She didn't come and see you. And I said, no, she came to my room last night. She was on the tree outside. And my mom said, okay. And my mom had this habit of playing the radio in the morning, and like pretty much all day, really. And at the time, there was a movie out called Butch and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah.
And she loved the music from there. And there was a song called The Entertainer, which is the
instrumental.
It's an instrumental, if you heard it, you'd know the song. Yes. Yes. So my mom and Sally loved that song, and Sally had a player piano at her house, and she had that song that would play on her piano. And so she and my mom would play that song every time we got together. So I finished telling my mom about Sally. That song comes on the radio. So my mom's like, okay. And it was an odd experience. You had one when you were little.
Yeah. I was helping at this old church. We were taking the chairs down the basement. And, I go upstairs, I grab some chairs and I bring them down and set them down, go back upstairs, grab some chairs, come down, sit them down. And sometime between when I sat the last one down and turned around, I don't know what, it's like I walked into something, but there was nothing there. And I just I don't know if I was just so scared that I froze or what exactly it was, but yeah, I stood there. I didn't realize I was standing there for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And everyone else is like going in and out of the room. And finally somebody goes, "You all right?" And I'm like, "What just happened?" He goes, "You're just standing there. You've been standing there for 20 minutes. I'm like, okay. That was weird.
Yeah.
So I kind of tried to shrug it off, and it gave me the chills.
I've had experiences
I tried to shrug
too.
it off and be Mr. Tough Guy about it, but it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. Well, you lived in a haunted house.
Yeah, I lived in a house on Kishwaukee Street in Rockford, Illinois. Not a good area.
No.
It was a 2-story that was built in the 1800s, and I bought it, and I had it as a duplex. I started out living upstairs. I lived upstairs for a little while, then I moved downstairs. I never had any experiences while I was upstairs. Moved in downstairs, and I'm hanging out. And I had a renter upstairs. The renter came downstairs one morning and was like, "Well, you're not going to believe what happened last night." And I'm like, lay it on me. What happened? She's like, "We were up and we kept hearing this noise in the attic. And I couldn't figure out what it was. So we went over, and there's a hatch in the hallway. So they went in the hallway and opened up the hatch and got up and looked up there. And the girl who looked up there freaked out, almost killed the girl below her, trying to get back down, and wouldn't go out in the hallway anymore. The other girl had to go up and close the hatch. The other girl went up to close the hatch, and as she's popping her head up, she sees an old lady in a rocking chair in the attic. And totally freaks out, closes the door, runs downstairs, and knocks on my door. And that's when I open the door, and she's telling me about it. I'm like, wow, okay. She's like, "You need to come upstairs and take a look." I go up there, I pop the hatch, I look around, I'm like, okay, there's nothing going on here. I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
But we also had where, like, you'd be sitting on the couch and watching TV or whatever, and it would feel like the house was shaking, like like you could hear the doors banging back and forth in the keyways. And I remember sitting there, and I looked over at my buddy, and I was like, "Are you shaking the floor or something?" I thought, is he shaking his leg? What's going on? What the hell is going on? And I go, does it feel like the house is shaking? He goes, yeah, it has been for a couple hours. And I was like, yeah, I thought so too. Wow, that's weird. We never did get an explanation for that either.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
It's crazy.
What's up, Tim?
Hey, Tim.
Sorry.
This is our Halloween party. It's a day late, but yes.
Big Tim.
Yes. I had a pretty frightening experience when I was I think I was like 18. I think I was 18, 19, somewhere around there. It was my first year of college. Oh yeah, here we go. Paranormal barking up my tree. Yes. Yeah, some ghost stories. So I think I was like 18 or 19, and I was super, super busy when I was a freshman in college because I had a full load of college classes. I was on the social board. I was on the dance squad at school, and then I had 3 jobs. One of the jobs was working at the chapel, and so I would sing at the 7 p.m. mass, and then I would work on Saturdays, and I would set up for all the weddings that we had at the chapel, and then I would pass out flyers. I set up 2 retreats that were going on at school, and then I also worked at Fashion Bug because I wanted clothes, and then I worked at a restaurant called Aunt Mary's, and I was a server there. So I was super busy, and so I was working at Aunt Mary's one night, and again, it's pouring rain. I don't know, I don't know what it is about rain and me. I don't know, but for some reason, it's pouring rain outside, and this guy comes walking into the restaurant, and the section that I was working I had a big section that I was working, and then I worked the counter. And then right behind the counter was the kitchen. Oh, Justin Smet is here. Nice.
What's up, man?
It's nice to see you. We're telling ghost stories. Tim says he could tell stories for days and hours. That would be good. Yes. So this guy comes in, he sits down at the counter. Never, ever, ever says a word to me. So I said to him, would you like some coffee? Because he was soaking wet. His hair was like matted to his head. And his eyes were like these big bulging eyes, and they were black. I remember that. They were black eyes. And I called him the Rat Man because he looked like a drowned rat. And so I thought, well, let me give you some coffee to warm you up because it's kind of cold. So I give him the coffee, and I kept coming back and asking, do you want to order any food? And he would just stare at me. And so I just kept filling up his coffee cup because I'm like, I don't know what to do, So after a couple hours, I just I'm going and taking care of my other customers. I'm in the kitchen, and the manager comes over, and he's like, what's up with that guy at the counter there? He doesn't have any food. And I said, he hasn't talked to me at all. He hasn't ordered anything. And he said, all he's been doing is sitting here drinking coffee. And I said, yeah. So he goes, that's it. That's enough of this. So he kicked the guy out. So I finished up my shift. It's like 3 hours later, and I forget about the guy. So I go out to my car, and I'm going to take this girl home that I work with. So we're sitting out in my car. It's still raining really hard. So I said, let's just sit here for a few minutes because it's raining a little too hard for me to be driving in. So I don't feel comfortable driving in it. So as we're sitting there, I look over, and this restaurant was in a strip mall. So I look over and I see the guy that had been sitting at my counter, and he's just walking back and forth by the restaurant and staring at me in my car. And I'm like, well, that's creepy. What is he doing here? Why is he still here? This is so weird. And my friend was like, oh, well, don't worry about him, and we'll just keep an eye on him. So we both, like, this ambulance or whatever drives past. We both look to see the ambulance. And in just that short amount of time, we look back, he's gone. He had disappeared. I have no idea where he went. Within about 10 seconds, we both start hearing what sounds like chanting coming from the backseat of my car. So we're both like, yeah, you hear that? Yeah, I hear it. Okay. It sounds evil. It sounds like chanting. We're getting the hell out of here, because we still couldn't find where that guy went. So I drive to a gas station that's all lit up. We get out of the car. We're checking the trunk. We're checking under the hood. We're checking under the car, in the back seat, everywhere. Didn't see anything. So I drop her off and I drive home, and I go to bed, and my blinds are closed. There's no moon out because it's raining. It's too cloudy. The street light in front of our house was burned out. So it's pitch black in my bedroom. And I'm laying there in bed, and all of a sudden I notice 3 sets of cat eyes that are glowing red, and 3 sets of cat eyes over here that are glowing red on my wall. So I'm freaking out a little bit. I close my eyes and I start praying. So then I open my eyes up again. The eyes are gone. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go to sleep. This is crazy. So I'm like, oh my God. That house anyway was a freaky house. It used to, when we were renting the house, it was the last house we lived in Illinois, and before we moved to Arizona. And that house was crazy. I hated being there by myself because it just had a really weird feeling. And my mom and I were sitting down talking one day, and we were trying to figure out, like, what are you feeling in the house, and she said she didn't feel comfortable in the kitchen. And I said, I get scared standing in the dining room, and I can't look up. They had a little crawl space in, like an attic crawl space in their bedroom. And I said, I can't even look up there. It's just weird. And I said, it's in the hallway is just always really cold, and it's always really dark. No matter how many lights are on in the house, it's always super cold in that hallway. So, and I said, I just feel like I'm being watched all the time in my bedroom. So I said, yeah, I just don't like this house at all. So a couple of days later, my dad comes over, and my dad comes walking in. He goes, you guys are not going to believe what I just heard about this house. It used to be a drug house, and the police did a raid on the house, and as it was a tri-level house. So when you come in the house, you can go up the stairs or you can go down the stairs. So when they went up the stairs, the lady of the house came running out of the kitchen holding a knife and charged at the officers, and they shot her in the kitchen. Then they went down the hallway, and right outside the bathroom, the owner of the house, the drug lord, came running out of the bathroom with guns blazing at the police officers. They shot him right outside the bathroom. So they go down the stairs, and that's where a lot of people were just kind of, I don't know, hanging out, doing drugs and stuff. And they were leading these people out of the house after the raid. And they said, this one girl started crying, and she said, my sister came here 2 weeks ago to try and get me out of the house, and they killed her in the dining room, and they put her body up in the attic. And the police went back in, they found her body in the attic. And my mom and I are just kind of standing there staring at each other like, what? I said to my mom, did you tell him? And she goes, no, I didn't say a word. And I'm like, this is crazy. It's crazy. All right, we got a bunch of comments here. What is going on here? Justin was saying, I've seen spirits before.
Oh yeah.
The spirits you drink. Can't drink. I wish I could drown my fears, sorrows, and feelings down to relax with what life has been feeling lately. Oh, have to be moved out of my apartment by the end of the month. My wife is depressed and pregnant, and she's saying she's putting our child in foster care. Oh my gosh, Justin. Oh, that's terrible.
Wow.
My daughter turns 4 on the 29th. Oh. Yeah, just another trial to survive through, and just stay as strong as I can always, and do my best to get a place at least for my wife and daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care if I'm homeless. Oh. If you guys were close here to Illinois, I'd say come, just have them, like all 3 of you come here. Life is difficult. All a man can do is all he can and fight through it to successfully completing what we set out to do.
Yeah.
Yes. That's all you can do. I mean, hey, if you're close to Byron, Illinois, come stay with us. Bring your wife and daughter and come stay with us.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got 2 extra bedrooms, so
Got no kids.
yeah. And Mike's not coming home till December.
Yep.
Sometime in December. So yeah. Come on in, Can't leave the state. Oh.
Yeah. Well,
There's got to be, like, keep looking around and see what you can find, and I mean, if there's anything that any of us can do, definitely let Destroyer know too, and see how everybody, this community is so loving. See how we can all help you out, we'd love to help you out. So,
yeah.
Anything that we can do, or we'll put our email address up here. Where is it at? Is it on here? No, on here. Yeah. Send us an email, Justin, and let us know how we can help you. Because that's scary stuff. I've been through it.
Yep. A lot.
Definitely been through it. A lot. Yeah. All I can do is put out applications for renting. Yeah. And just see what you can do. And, keep praying too, Justin, to see where the Lord is leading you. Because that's a big part of it too. But if you need help with anything, like, email me and we'll see what we can do as far as putting the word out for you. And, let me know what state you're in and see what we can do as far as helping you out. There might be some short-term leases that are out there, or, different things. So definitely let us know how we can help you, for sure. Because I know I've been through it. When I was growing up, it was one house or another, and one house after another. And, I moved 33 times. So I definitely understand, like, having to leave one house and, get into another one, and, as quickly as possible. So yeah, I've been through it. Yeah, Justin, anything we can help your family, definitely. Anything we can help you with, Dan, Tracy, and Eric, have myself, if you need me.
Yep.
Yes. Best thing is my current landlord is willing to help with first month's rent and security deposit. That's awesome.
Wow.
Oh, you have to move out because, so they're repairing it. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, see what's out there, see what's available, because, there's.
I mean, there used to be places in Rockford where you could go, like the Pump Handle or the.
Yeah.
I
mean, we live.
They're not too. You can go and you can rent by the week. When you maybe even just call around and talk to hotels and tell them your situation. And,
yes.
And see if they'll rent to you by the week and do it a lot cheaper.
We did that for the last place we lived here in Illinois was, before we moved to Arizona. We had left. We were being kicked out of the house that we were renting, the haunted one, and and so it was kind of a blessing not to be living there anymore. But we had to move to a hotel or motel, I guess. I think we were there for a month and a half. My dad was only there for 2 weeks, and he and my oldest 2 brothers drove to Arizona. But my mom and my youngest brother and I had to stay in Illinois so my mom could finish out work. So we lived at a hotel for a while. So it's not ideal, but it's something.
It helped, you know.
Yeah.
They that particular one, I know for sure they'll rent by the week, by the month.
Yeah.
And you know, it's fairly inexpensive. It's not.
Yeah. It's not as expensive as you'd think.
Yeah.
Baraboo, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Ah, you know where that is?
Yeah, that's up by the Wisconsin Dells.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. You know, and the way me and my brothers kind of thought of it the way I kind of thought of it at the time was, this is an adventure. So it's not forever, but it's an adventure. So keeping that positive mindset that you'll be able to find something and that it'll help you out in the meantime, even if it's week by week that you're paying, that might be a little bit of an adventure for you guys, and I know it's not ideal. It sucks. And we are definitely going to add you to our prayer list for sure.
Yep.
So, our thoughts are definitely with you. I know how hard that is. I've lived through it. So.
Yeah, we're actually in northern Illinois, so we're not too terribly far from Baraboo. I think we're about 4 hours.
Yeah.
Right around there.
Yeah.
But I can try and look around too and see what I can come up with. But I don't know if I don't have a lot of people that I know up by that area. Maybe a little further south. But
maybe Jay does. Maybe our friend Jay knows some people that live up that way. So we'll try and look around for you and see if we can contact somebody that might know somebody. My earring's getting caught in the wig thing. Anyways, all right, back to ghost stories. Yes, let's go back to ghost stories. Yeah, we were just talking about this too, like feeling, I think on the last show or the week, maybe 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, I think.
3 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah.
We were talking about following the Lord's lead in your life and listening to where He wants you to go and praying for signs, and so that's one thing that we've done a lot is prayed for signs for the Lord to lead us to different places and open doors for us. Justin, I would suggest that you do that. We're going to be praying that the Lord sends you signs that doors will open for you.
Yes.
And that you'll see the signs leading you.
Yep.
Because that's one thing that's led us this whole time. We had to move in a couple of times with we had to move in with my mom and dad for a short time right after we got married. And then because we gave the house to a friend of ours that needed a house to live in. And we were renting the house from my parents. So we just kind of moved back with them and gave my parents' house to them. So, and then we had our first house built and we moved back in with my mom and dad, or my dad, for a short time, and then moved everybody over to our house. A lot of moves here, and
to our house that we almost lost.
Yes.
That was exciting.
Yes. That house.
Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Yes.
They pulled us out of the fire.
Yeah, they sure did.
But
that house was interesting because the first day that we got the keys, like my mom had been there when we signed the papers. She wasn't there when we got the papers, but she was still alive when we signed the papers for the house to be built. And she and I would go to her cancer treatments and then stop by the house. She'd say, let's go by your house and see see if it's up yet. And so we would kind of watch it being built as it was going up. So she was there through most of that. So she passed away 2 weeks before we got the keys to the house.
Yep.
And so we go in, we've got the keys. We're really happy because we finally have our house. And we're standing there at the kitchen counter, just kind of looking at the house and just in awe.
It's empty.
Yeah, it's all empty.
Brand new.
And all of a sudden we look over because we notice movement over by the staircase. And I said to Dan, did you see that? And he goes, that shadow that just went up the stairs? And I said, yeah, what did it look like to you? And he said, it looked like your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I guess mom is here to say hello.
Yep.
So, and then after that was the house that my dad had passed away in. Terrible night. We had done CPR on him, and he passed away. He actually passed at the house, and they didn't call it at the house. They took him to the hospital and called it there. But strange things would happen after he passed away, because we turned his bedroom into my office so that I could homeschool Michael at that house. So Mike and I would be doing school all day long, and then we would leave to go pick the girls up from school and come back, and it would smell. All you could smell in the house was my dad's cologne. It was crazy. And so then, or I would find his glasses sitting on the little end table where he had put them the night he died. And his glasses I had put in a box in our closet, so the kids didn't even know where they were. And we would find his glasses in there. You know, it was just crazy. Little things like that. When we moved out here, I was driving around one day, and I had just talked to my aunt about my dad's sister about their old farm, which isn't too far from our house. Yeah. And so I said, well, yeah, I'm going to go and check it out. And at some point we'll drive around and see if we can find it. And so I'm driving to go get groceries one day, and I hear Quiet Riot, Come On Feel the Noise, yeah, which my dad loved. He loved that song. So I hear that song, and I'm like, it just starts me thinking about my dad. And I was driving close to where his old farm was. So I'm like, oh, I'll just turn down the street and see if I can find it, you know, just on the off chance that I can find it. I turn on the street where he lived, and I smell my dad's cologne really strong in the car. And it keeps getting stronger and stronger. And then I passed by a certain spot, and then the smell started going away. So I'm like, did I just pass where you used to live, Dad? So I turn around, and again, it gets stronger and stronger, and then it starts going away again. So I'm like, all right, I think I've narrowed it down to a couple spots where you might have lived, Dad. So thank you for showing me that. I appreciate it. So I get back out on the road, and I'm driving past my dad's high school, and I hear my mom and dad's wedding song come on the radio. And I'm like, all right, I got you. So I go get groceries, forget all about it. I drive home, and I'm walking past Dan, and I'm putting stuff in our garage fridge. And Dan looks over at me, and he goes, why am I smelling your dad's cologne? It's really strong. And I'm like, you smell it? You smell it too? And he's like, yeah, I do. It's really strong. And I'm like, okay, you got to hear this story. Crazy story. So yeah, that was a crazy story. Yeah. My mom and dad's first house, we had moved in there, and one of my little sisters had passed away when she was 2. My little sister, Betsy. And she was just the best little kid ever. Never cried, hardly ever cried, but she never spoke. She had not learned how to talk yet. She was developmentally disabled. And she passed away from SIDS when she was 2, and just devastated our whole family. And so it's the week of her funeral, and we were going over my mom and dad's house like every night, trying to help them plan and help get everything all set. And my brother had laid his son down, who was the same age, in Betsy's old room. And sorry to hear about that. Thank you. Yeah, it was hard. It was hard. That right when she passed away, my first husband had just left our marriage. And so within a month, my ex had left, and then my little sister passed away, and my ex decided that the day that she passed away was the perfect day for him to go in and clean out our entire apartment. So he took everything that we owned and left the apartment. So classy guy.
Classy.
Yeah. But I didn't want any of that stuff anyway. I got new stuff, so that's fine. All I wanted from that was my name back. I just didn't care. But anyways, she was, so my brother puts my nephew down to, to go to sleep in the bedroom that Betsy had. And he goes down the hall to check on his son, and he comes walking back out, and his face is just white, pale. And we're like, what happened? And he goes, Mom, do you want to go in there and tell your daughter to stop messing around with my son, because he's trying to sleep, and he's in there standing in the crib pointing at the pile of stuffed animals that they used to play hide and seek in, and he's laughing. And he's saying Betsy. And so we're like, oh, that's kind of weird. So a couple of days later, we come back from the wake. And, in the Catholic Church, we always have a wake the night before the funeral. So we say the rosary and we say prayers. And it's a time to just be all together and say goodbye the night before.
Yeah.
So we have the wake, and we come back to my mom's house, and me and my youngest brother and his family were staying at my mom and dad's house for the night. And so it's the middle of the night. I walk out in the hallway, and my youngest brother meets me out in the hallway, and he goes, "Are you hearing that?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm hearing that." My mom comes out from her room, and she's like, "What are you guys doing up?" And I said, my brother said, "We can hear Betsy laughing. Can you please tell her to go to sleep, because we just want to go to sleep right now?" And she's like, all right. So, but we had little instances where at my apartment, I would hear her footsteps, and she would, like, my bedroom door would open up, and I could hear her laugh. And we had moved into the house where she had passed away. Dan and I did. And we turned her bedroom into a playroom for the kids. So we had this big dresser, and all the drawers had different games and pillows and blankets and books and all kinds of stuff in each drawer. So we put her favorite book on top of the dresser, and we kind of stood it up there, 10 Little Monkeys. We stood the book up on top of the dresser, and Dan we were like, I think we were painting or something, whatever we were doing. Dan comes walking out, and he goes, Betsy's book fell on the floor. And I said, oh, okay. So he puts it back up and lays it flat on the dresser. So he's not even away from the doorway. He's not even out of the room yet. And the book falls on the floor. Not only falls on the floor, but flies across the room and lands on the floor.
So I pick it up. And I'm like, okay. So I just set it back up there flat again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a little creepy.
It kept falling off. And we basically just said, all right, Betsy, if you want to come visit us, that's fine. Just don't scare us.
Right.
You're welcome to come here. This is your old room. You're welcome to come here. Just don't scare us. But just every once in a while, we would we would experience something, and it was like, yeah, I think that was Betsy playing around. My mom had this little doll, and this is the freakiest thing. I don't like I don't like little dolls. I don't like them at all, because I think they're kind of creepy. I don't like them. But my mom had this little doll, and she had gotten it. I want to say
Wasn't it like a baby doll?
Yeah, it was a little baby doll, and it was Betsy's baby doll, and it was programmed to say certain things, and it would sit up and okay, I think we've got a weird thing in there. Weird comment. Face, red heart. Shape, face, red heart. Okay.
I think it's.
Yeah.
It's not.
Okay. So anyways, So this doll, it would sit up and it would laugh. It would say, "That's funny," and it would laugh. And then it would roll back over and it would start laughing and shaking. So, and it was programmed to say a few other things that were kind of weird, but I'm like, all right, that's kind of strange. So my mom has this doll after my little sister passes away. And she had it on her bed. So at night, she would put it at the end of the bed by her feet. And on Betsy's birthday, my mom's birthday, Mother's Day, like certain times of the year, this doll would sit up and say, "I love you, Mommy," and roll back over and start laughing and shaking. The doll was not programmed to say, "I love you, Mommy." So my dad said, after the first couple times it did it, my dad said, "All right, that's enough. I've had enough of this goddamn thing." And he takes the batteries out of it. Like a week later, the doll sits up, "I love you, Mommy," rolls back over and starts laughing. And my dad's like, "I took the batteries out. It shouldn't be working. I took the batteries out." And my mom's like, "I have no idea what's going on." So my mom passes away and my dad comes walking over one night and he goes, "Get this damn thing out of my room because I don't want it. It creeps me out." And I'm like, all right. So I think I had it in our room on the bed. And every once in a while, like on the special days, it would sit up, "I love you." And it didn't say Mommy anymore. "I love you." And then it would roll over and start shaking. And Dan's like, "Either put it in a fucking box or throw it away. I'm done. I'm done with the doll. I'm done."
Enough of that. I'll pass.
So the doll is in a box now. It hasn't had batteries in it for 13 years,
Yeah.
14 years, something like that. It's been a long time. Yeah. Creepy thing. No, I've gone on like ghost tours. We used to live in Phoenix, like outside Phoenix. Yeah, that would creep me out at first, but I get used to it. Yeah. Yes.
Hey, Rashid. Haven't seen you before.
Hey, nice. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. But yeah, that was creepy. We used to live not too far from Tombstone. So we'd go down there every once in a while. I did a ghost walk down there one year, and that was fascinating. Heard little kids playing outside. And this is like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning by this time. And we come around this building that used to be a school. And I'm like, who the hell would have their kids out playing right now? That's so weird. And everybody around me is like, we don't hear kids playing. And I'm like, they're singing "Ring Around the Rosary." I can hear them playing. Like they're laughing and playing. I can hear them. And the ghost tour director came over and he goes, "Yeah, there's no kids out here. You're hearing spirits right now." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." That makes more sense, you know. But we went down to Tombstone one year. Do you remember that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
We went down to Tombstone one year with the kids, and we decided we were going to go into, what is it called?
Birdcage.
The Birdcage Theater. So I don't know if you know much about Tombstone, but in Tombstone they have this. It used to be like a, what do they call it?
A theater?
Like, well, I mean, it's a theater, but like like a dance hall type thing.
Yeah, it was a dance hall.
So they have this big stage up in front, and the girls would dance there, and then they have these rooms upstairs where the men would take the girls and they would do things. So
there's all kinds of dummies everywhere.
Yes.
They're old mannequins.
Yes.
And
they're creepy. Yeah. So then you can go downstairs, like they'll take you on a tour of the building and you can go downstairs, and downstairs they had like different card tables set up, faro tables. Mm-hmm. So, where they would go and play cards, and they had storage areas, all these different areas downstairs. So, and then they had a gift shop down there.
Yeah.
So we decide we take the kids there, and they're telling all these stories about, ghostly things and everything. And our oldest wasn't too keen on any of that. She scares easily. So the middle one, my Annie, she loved all that.
Yeah.
Loved all of it. She's like, tell me more. Tell me more. Can we see a ghost? And Mikey was pretty young by then, at that point. But
he was pretty much scared of his own shadow. But
yeah. So that was yesterday. No, just kidding. Just kidding, Mike. Just kidding. So
love you, Mike.
We love you. So we're walking down this stairway, and it's very narrow. It's like you can't walk side by side on it. It's very, very narrow, and the stairs are pretty
super steep. Yeah.
So we're holding on to the railings with both hands to go down this stairway, and you were right behind Joe. I was behind you.
Yeah.
And
I actually saw her hair come up.
Her hair comes straight up.
I still think it was a spider web or something. I don't know.
I don't think a spider web would be that. I don't think a spider. It pulled. It pulled on it.
Yeah.
So a spider web wouldn't do that. So they had this like overhead thing that like the beams coming down, but they were so like she's kind of short. She's like 5'5", so she's not tall enough to rub her head up that high. So we are going down the stairs, and Dan and I both see her hair being pulled up in the back of her head.
She turns around and punches me dead in the chest. That's not funny. And I'm like, I didn't do anything. And she's like, right. And Tracy's like, I was standing here and he didn't do anything. And she's like, somebody pulled my hair.
So we wait till we get to the bottom of the stairs. And I said to her, I put my arm around her and I said, I think a ghost just pulled your hair. Because Dan wasn't touching you. He had both hands on the railings, and so did I. And she's like, I could have sworn somebody pulled my hair. Like, I felt the tug on my hair, and I'm like, I think it was a ghost, Joe. I think it was a ghost. Because, Dan didn't do it. Yeah. What did Justin say? I was 8 when I first seen a ghost of a little girl in the house we lived in, and a year later found a picture of the little girl I saw.
Wow.
Ooh.
That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be scary. Could have been a change in energy, maybe something paranormal. Yeah. We didn't know what it was. We had no idea because, like, seriously, we were trying to explain, like, trying to figure out different things, like maybe it got caught. But I'm like, she's so short. It didn't catch your hair, and you're a lot taller than she is. And I'm like, I have no explanation for it because it didn't happen to anybody else, and we're all taller than her. And I have no explanation. No explanation. It's crazy. But we kind of welcome spirits in the house. Like the last house we lived in Arizona was like, you just get a feeling when you walk into some place, and we walked in there and the house was just so dark, and you could feel like the negative energy all through the house. And so we prayed in every room. We blessed the house with holy water when we went in, because I said, it's just,
you could feel it.
You could feel the anger in the house. And
the last couple that had lived there were in the process of getting a divorce, and it was kind of a bad one, I guess. And,
the fist, like you could see, like in the wall outside of our bedroom, you could see the imprint of a fist.
Yeah.
Like in the wall.
Where they had punched the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was really dark.
But anyway.
But we're in a more light-filled house now. I would suggest making sure that you get your house blessed. But we welcome spirits to be around, as long as they're not negative. If you're a negative spirit being around, we're gonna call you out.
You're gonna get the boot.
We're gonna kick you out. Paranormal activity is my own fault. I used to refurbish antique furniture.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Brought a spirit in here with me. Last piece I brought in was funeral. Oh gosh.
Yep.
Yeah, I find that so interesting that spirits can be attached to certain things. We also have ashes of her nephew and stepdad, so they're all there. They all follow us and protect us.
That's
yes.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he said that he has his stepdad's ashes, so we feel him, and my wife and child see him once in a while. That's really that's the thing. Like we didn't keep my dad's ashes. We buried. We didn't. What is it? I'm old. I don't have a memory anymore. Anyway, we didn't. I don't want to say burn, but
Yeah,
whatever. We're both having a brain fart right now. I'm sorry. Anyway, we buried him, so we don't have his ashes, but we have some of his personal effects. Like we still have the outfit that my mom wore when she went into the hospital the last time, and my dad's outfit from when he died.
Cremated.
Yes, cremated. Thank you. And so we it would have driven us crazy all night. Yeah. But so we still have a lot of their personal effects. I still have my dad's glasses. We gave each of the kids a bottle of my dad's cologne so that they could smell him anytime that they wanted. But it's just, I bless my own home with old Germanic rituals with my Thor's hammer and with incense. Yes. Had to call the Delmarva spirit hunters to find out how to escort their ass out of my house. Wow. Yeah, it's scary being in a house that's haunted because that house that we rented, I didn't want to be there by myself because I think I'm a little sensitive to all that. Like we'll walk. Yeah, more than a little. I get a certain feeling about things like houses or different objects or whatever. And my ex thought it would be really funny to bring a Ouija board into the house, into our first apartment together. And I told him, either you take it out or I'm taking it out and I'm burning it. We're not having that in our house. So that's not something you play with. It's not a game. Well, sure, it's a game. No, that's a portal. No, you don't play with things like that. No. Because it's inviting things in that you don't have control over. So you don't invite those things in. That's not good. So, and our kids would talk about different things like, can you get me a Ouija, Annie? Can you get me a Ouija board, or can we do? No. I'll take you to a haunted house, and I'll take you to a graveyard, and we'll walk around the graveyard and see if we pick up on anything. But I'm not bringing a Ouija board in the house. There's no way.
That's just asking for trouble.
Yeah, any spiritual things are never games. No.
That is
no. Nope. So, yeah, we have a lot of other stories, but I know we're at an hour mark right now. So,
are we?
Yeah. What does it say here? This isn't my first rodeo with spirits, so I'm not scared. Ouija board is dangerous. Used it once in one haunted place I lived and trashed it after a bad experience. Yeah.
Don't mess with them.
Yeah, it's not. Ouija boards are not fun and games.
Nope.
There's too many things that I've seen, as far as like bad things that can happen when you invite that in. As far as like inviting family in, to say hello or whatever. I mean, I've had experiences after my grandmother passed away. And I have dreams every once in a while where, if I have a dream 3 times or more, then I know it's going to come true. And it's weird. Like I had a dream about our 2 girls, and then we found out news about them, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I dreamt about Dan for a long time, but I didn't see his face. And then it was like for months I was dreaming all the time about this man that was going to be coming into my life, and all of a sudden there's Dan. I actually had an experience. I don't know if you've ever heard of Jerome, Arizona. if you haven't heard of Jerome, Arizona, you need to look it up.
It's pretty cool. It's a neat place.
It's very cool. And
it's in the middle of nowhere on top of a mountain, basically.
Yeah. I'm actually going to be writing another book about basically about this experience, but my friend Colleen and I drove up there because it's like 2 or 3 hours from north of Phoenix. So we drove up there, and it's this tiny, tiny little town, and the streets go up, like zigzag up this mountain. And it's really neat. And so you park down like in this little parking lot, and then you start walking up the zigzag streets. And so we get to like the first street, we get to the top of the street, and there's this art building. It's like I don't know, like some kind of art building. So you walk in there, and when I walked into the house, I went straight up these stairs, and I walked straight to this huge picture window that faced outside, and it faced like the valley down below. And I just walked straight. I just made a beeline straight to this window, and I start looking out this window. And my friend is looking around at all the art pieces, and she comes walking over to me, and it was kind of like that thing that happened with you in the church basement where I lost track of time. I didn't realize how long I had been standing there. Apparently, I had been standing there long enough that my friend was like, "What are you doing?" But she came walking over to me, and she tapped my arm, and she said, "Your arm is freezing cold. What is going on with you?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "What do you see out there?" And I said, "I just saw a guy riding on a wagon, but it was one of those, what is it? The flat wagon. It doesn't have
buckboard.
a buckboard."
Yeah.
I saw a guy, he was wearing dark pants, and he had a white shirt on, and he had a big cowboy hat on that was tucked, like pulled down over his face. I couldn't see his face. And he looked up at the window, and he waved to me. And she said, "You were just waving at somebody." And she said, "There's nobody out there. Certainly not in that clothing." And she goes, I said, "Well, it was weird because I felt like I had a dress on, a long dress, and it felt like my hair was up in a bun." And she goes, "Yeah, your hair is down and you're wearing jeans. I don't know what you just experienced, but I think you just saw something from the past." And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But this lady came over who owned the building, and she said, "Oh, this used to be someone's house." And I said, "Yeah, right through that door there is the kitchen." And she said, "It used to be the kitchen, yeah." And I said, "Oh, and then down here is this room, and here's this room." And I'm pointing out all these rooms in the house, and she goes, "How did you know that?" And I said, "I don't know." I don't know. I just know. I just know it. Yeah, Justin said, "You were experiencing your past life." Yes.
Oh, here we go.
I did once when I was a child, but we had things in place of the candles around the board with salt. And when we were done, we closed the circle after saying any spirits to go back once they came. Yeah, you definitely have to close the circle for sure. Then blew the candles out and waited 5 days to move the board. Yeah, you definitely, like with that, you definitely have to say goodbye.
You got to be respectful.
Yeah, you definitely have to say goodbye. That's for sure. You have all kinds of cool stuff.
Cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little strange. Andy, how's your daughter doing? Been to several places that were supposed to be very haunted, or places with UFO activity, and have never seen or experienced anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had quite a few things happen. Quite a few. I think the coolest thing though was my mom visiting us at our first house.
That was cool.
Just seeing that shadow go up the stairs. We knew it was my mom. We just knew it was. I've always been very spiritual. Personally experienced being levitated in a ritual with friends, and they weren't touching me. Wow.
Nice.
Holy crap. I was 10. Wow. That would be freaky. Yeah, I definitely, my friend said the same thing. She's She's been doing like ghost hunting and paranormal stuff for a long time. And she's actually married to a paranormal psychologist.
Yeah.
And so they've done ghost hunting for a long time. And she was saying the same thing, that I think you were experiencing your past life. And then right after we left there, I had this great book idea to write this book about moving from Illinois to Arizona and moving up to Jerome. And she's like, I think you are describing your past life right there. So I'm still researching and developing that one, but yeah, she's doing great. She loves all the comments on the videos. Just got done being the spooky maid at the local haunted house. Nice. Oh, nice. That's fun. That's so fun. Yeah. I don't go to haunted houses.
Not so much anymore, anyway.
No, I've lived in them, so I don't need to go to them.
Yeah.
So.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. So there's no homework for tonight, except to steal your kids' Halloween candy and eat it, because they don't need any more. Right. They're already hyped up enough from last night. They don't need any more Halloween candy. So I have to ask the question, did your parents do the same thing with you guys that my parents did with me, where they're like, okay, we have to check your candy and make sure that it's okay for you to eat? Did they tell you the story about like razor blades being in the candy bars, so they would have to like bite into them to make sure that they were okay? Because my parents did that.
Yeah.
Like the boxes of raisins and the apples and stuff, they were like, oh yeah, you can have all that. But the candy bars, especially my mom's favorite ones.
Weirdly, she always said.
Yeah, she always had to check those. It was very strange. And my dad always had to have Snickers bars because apparently Snickers bars had the razor blades in them, so we couldn't have any Snickers bars. Mm-hmm. So I'll just check the comment up here and see. Because I'm sure your guys' parents did the same thing. 20 degrees yesterday. All made sure last night for my daughter. Yes. Yeah, it was cold. It was 32. Anything that was open, we threw away. Yeah, we had to do the same thing. Yeah, so when the kids came to live with us, we had them go out and trick or treat. I told them, don't come back till your pillowcase is full. So you're not allowed back in the house. They thought I was kidding until they came back and it was only like half full. And I'm like, go back out there. Like, this isn't free room and board. You need to pay with candy. So like, go fill it up. Then they were allowed to come home once it was full. What does it say? My mom would check the candy. We had 3 days to eat whatever. And then on the 4th day, it went in the trash. Oh, she threw it away.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, we could have anything we wanted. We could have as much as we wanted on Halloween night. And then the next night, I think for like the week after that, we were allowed to have like 1 or 2 pieces every night. And then after that, all the candy kind of disappeared. And my mom would come walking out of her room, like snacking on something. And then we'd see the little wrappers in the trash. Mm-hmm. So I think she stole all of our candy.
Probably.
She never threw it away. But I had one of my brothers would put all of his in the freezer, and then for months later he would be snacking on this candy. And I'm like, he would save and save and save it. And the rest of us are just kind of eating our candy, whatever. And one of my brothers would eat like every bit of chocolate candy the night of Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how he ate that much candy. That's crazy.
I did too.
But yeah, your kids have had enough. Take their candy, eat what you want. Send them to bed, eat their candy. It's fine. They're not even gonna know. They have to have something to talk about when they get to be an adult. So eat their candy now.
That's weird. Your candy's gone?
What happened to it? It must have been the Great Pumpkin.
Maybe.
Yes. Yes. The Great Mummy came and stole all your candy. All right. Well, we are going to let you guys go. We've had a great time with you guys and with our special guests here, our little scarecrow and skeleton and little pumpkin guy. We were joking around before the show. We're like, this one here is our oldest. This one's the middle one. She's driving, but not very well. That's why this one's a skeleton. And then this one here is our youngest. So that's why he's on the front of the car too, because the middle one's driving.
Right.
Crash. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful week. Next week, I forgot what we're talking about next week, but I think it's what is it? You'll find out next week. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful week, and next week is going to be a good show too. We can't wait to see you guys next week. We love you so much.
We love you guys.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
We love you. We'll talk to you later.
See you guys.